You get down 5-0. A lot of defensive breakdowns. Like, how do you account for that, Ben? Is there any way to put your finger on what happened there?
We gave up 6 breakaways tonight, and they scored on 5 of them. And it was one of the things that we talked about as a group. We weren't dialed in as a team or paying attention from the defense. I mean, they got in behind us 6 times, and they executed on 5 of them. The game's over at the end of the 2. I mean, we had opportunities to score, and you have to give them credit. I thought Easton stood on his head there tonight. I mean, we had opportunities to shoot where we didn't. Collectively, we just didn't have anything going here tonight. Offensively, didn't generate on the power play with our chances, which I thought were plentiful in the first. We just didn't score, and then a couple empty-minded shifts there towards the end of the second, and the game was done.
Yeah, when you give up that many, mistake after mistake, that's the same mistake. That's got to be frustrating because one mistake is one thing, but 4 or 5, that's got to drive you crazy.
Yeah, 6 of them, to be very specific, and all the exact same way, and I think everybody was guilty. I mean, DeWatcher and Chinner and Scotty and Virgilio, and it was all the same message about being above the offensive threat. And once they get them behind us, we're in trouble. We end up chasing, and like I said before, we woke up, and it was too late, 5-0.
Zada tried to start something there. What does that say about a kid that when he goes out there, and it resulted in a little bit of a spark, I thought?
I want to shout it from the mountaintops. I don't care about the goals and the assists in a draft here. At that moment, down 5-0, to step up on home ice and do that, I think is just absolutely incredible. I mean, it says so much about his character, about how much he cares and what he's willing to do for his teammates, regardless of the score. I mean, I think that'll get him more noticed outside of his offensive ability. I mean, just his ability to play like that was something that you just can't teach.
Yeah. Did you feel it on the bench when he did that?
Yeah. I mean, it was an unbelievable spark, and to be honest, I wish there was a whole team full of guys that cared and played like that. And Ethan Zada is one of those ones where you know what you're getting every single time, and he's quickly becoming one of our mainstays. I mean, he played 22 minutes in our comeback with the most ice time, and now he's taken over that top spot. I mean, we got some great centers, but we're really going to need Ethan, and I thought it was a great moment in his career to step up, especially before the Prospects game come Wednesday.
Yeah. Now you've got a lot of time this week to practice. What do you do? What do you do this week? Is it just the same thing over and over? Because after a while, it gets a little bit repetitive, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, it looked like we were struggling in conditioning with the day off, and even though we got in from Sudbury at 4 a.m, I mean, we canceled practice on Saturday, and then we came out flat like that. So I think it's the last time we do that, just as far as the response. But I mean, it really looks like some guys are struggling with conditioning. So we need to make sure that we put our foot down. This isn't a time to rest. I mean, we got 27 games left, and this is habits as far as going into the playoffs here that we need to make sure we're dialed in on.
Yeah, and the best way to play is to be consistent, game in and game out, and everybody wants that. It's not easy, though. So you've been around teams. What makes a team consistent? Like, were they able to bring it every day? Because that's what you want, right?
Yeah, you want the same type of habits, and we didn't. I mean, we talked about managing the puck against a team that doesn't want to go back and retrieve it. I mean, we had 14 turnovers in the first period through the neutral zone. I mean, you didn't dial in on our habits. I mean, like I said, staying above the speed. I mean, we let 2 guys get in behind us for 2 breakaways. I mean, boom, it's done. So, great team is going to be consistent in their habits, and we showed up and played like we just hoping that if we showed up, we would have had something happen. It didn't go. We didn't work together.
For sure. Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Any thoughts about starting Charlie for the third period?
No.
Well, Coach, I mean, when you have the late scratch of Asadorian, and that's a big loss because obviously he means so much to the team offensively, defensively, over a point a game. When you have to jumble up the lines like that in warm-ups, what goes into that, and how do you think that kind of factored in tonight?
I don't think it really had anything to do as far as the outcome of the game. I mean, we defensively, we just had lapses where we let guys get in behind us, and it wasn't just one guy in particular. Like I said, I thought it was a group. But offensively, we didn't have anything. We didn't execute on the power play. It didn't look like we had jam, and to be honest, it's one of those where you question how they took care of their bodies on a day off yesterday, because it really did not look like they were ready to play today.
What was the message after 40 minutes? Because they came out in the third, and Levin Loshko had a couple of nice plays there to create a couple of goals, and you could have had 2 or 3 more goals in that third period. So was there anything that you changed in the message or the game plan after 40 there?
When you're down 5-0 after 2, like we said, you got to respect Peterborough. I mean, they're winning games. They beat Sudbury. They beat, they're in overtime with Brantford, or in overtime with Sudbury. I mean, they're beating Barrie. They beat Niagara. All the teams at the top. I mean, they're working extremely hard, and we chirp them, and then they score the next shift, shove it right back down our throat. I mean, it's a well-coached team with a lot of good players there, and I was asked if we were going to take them lightly, and as a coach, you want to make sure that you got them ready to go for the game. But I do think that we had our foot off the gas, and we weren't ready to execute from the start of the game today.
Wysick a little bit under the weather. Are you hoping to have him back next week?
More than likely not next weekend, no. I mean, right now it looks like foreseeable. We do have some injuries that'll keep guys out of the lineup for next weekend. 3 of them right now that I can think about, but we're not going to use that as a crutch. Instead, I think some guys are hungry for minutes, and we really hope it's an opportunity here down the stretch that we can get some guys in, and hopefully they can make an impact.
Gave Hotless an opportunity tonight, a couple of shifts with the top lines. How do you think 74 was out there, a guy that doesn't obviously up in the press box most of the time, but giving him some opportunity tonight?
Well, it's tough to place expectations on him just because he hasn't been given an opportunity to play, and when he does come in, he doesn't really start playing until we're down, and that's not a knock on him. Just, that's a kind of a check to the group that's been getting it done all year. So, I mean, once he starts getting into the game and getting comfortable, you can see him start making plays. But as far as what the expectations are, we're not putting him in a position to have success with his limited ice time and being in there so few and far between. But you have to respect his effort. I think, Charlie gives his all. Almost had a point on his first shift tonight. I think he generated more than he hurt us, and I probably could have given him some more opportunities based on the way other forwards were playing. So with Levin going to the Worlds, and then missing Asadorian here for the foreseeable future, it's going to provide opportunity for guys to get into the lineup, and you just hope as hungry they are, they're ready to take that opportunity on.
Lastly, not about the game specifically, but you got Ethan Zada going away to the OHL Top Prospects game next week in Brantford. So what are you hoping to see from number 12 and getting some spotlight on a big stage?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't need to tell him what to do. I mean, he's been doing it all year. I mean, he's over a point a game right now going in there. I think he's outscored the majority of players that are actually playing in there. He may be one of the top point getters, one of the top. I know Brady Martin is playing well and Misa is playing well, but when you look at his stats compared to everybody else, the fact that he's 6'2", a two-way centerman that has over 50% in face-offs, I mean, point producer, he fights, he does it all. So I hope he finds a way to showcase that without getting hurt, knock on wood, and letting everybody else see the player he truly is.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.